Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Jay here. So today I got you inside my sump, specifically for one thing. I'm going to show you this little contraption I set up for my pre-filter. It works fantastic. It stops a lot of the stuff from going into my filters, my filter bags. So it just doesn't sit there and like rot out all week until I do the next change. These things I can change out daily. But real quick, I've got an insane amount of biomedia down here. You can see right here. Enough for a 2,000 gallon tank. Definitely overkill. Everything that's in here is pretty much for overkill purpose. And that's okay. I mean, that you'll be able to get away with a heavier stock, which I'm very lightly stocked fish wise. But you can get away with heavier feeding. So, um, especially since my rock, is still somewhat new and I'm getting some good bacteria growth on there. This is what made it possible. This biomedia is what made all of that possible, being able to pull all that out for that aptasia issue and not have to worry about the tank just getting wacky on me. I've got a Reef Octopus 200 internal. Um, it's supposed to be for at least a 200 gallon tank. For me, it's on a 140. And again, overkill. I could have gotten away with a smaller one, but you know how protein skimmers are. If you're in the hobby, if you're not, there's always that weird in between. So always go bigger. That's my suggestion. Um, I've got my media reactor in there with some pellets. Those have been going for quite some time. I've just been switching between pumps because some of the pumps were a little bit too light. There wasn't enough gallons per hour, enough flow moving up through that. So the pellets weren't really moving around like I wanted. But you don't want them to be blasting around inside that container. You want them to gently be kind of rolling. But the thing is, you don't want the bottom to be stagnant and the top to be rolling. You need that whole thing to be kind of moving around a little bit, so the healthy bacteria can be colonize those pellets, and some of the nasty dying off stuff can get kind of knocked off with that gentle tumble. But if you have it sitting stagnant at the bottom and you're not getting that movement throughout the entire container, that can create some major issues down the line. But let me bring you over here. I'm going to kind of bring the camera up, so I apologize about that. And I'm probably going to bring it right in here, okay? All right. So here's what I got going on here. I've got my filter bags, okay, underneath here. This is a Reefer 525 XL, so it comes with 4 compartments where you can put 4 filters in there. And like the 170 has a container where you can put 1. Some of them have a container where you can put 2. I have 4 in here, and the thing is I use the thicker filter material, like the fleece material. Yes, you have to change it out more often, but it keeps your tank much cleaner looking. I've also used some of the mesh stuff, and the problem with that is, and I don't know, when you get some food in there or certain kinds of algae in there, it gets real stringy as the water's running through and coming down, so it'll get real stringy. And then when you pull those out, all that stuff just gets lodged in here and it creates a mess in your sump. I've saw one reefer, and I can't remember his name, but he's a big deal in the hobby. He's got a couple of really nice tanks. And he just recommends that it's so important keeping your sump clean. So inside here I'll have pumps that turn on a couple times a day that kind of circulate everything, and it gets it back either up into the system and down through here to the filter, the fine filter filter bags, or it'll get trapped over here in my sponge on before my return. So also, obviously, the protein skimmer gives it time to pull everything out, but keeping a nice, clean sump where you don't have stuff settling at the bottom and getting stagnant is a big deal. And over here on the left side, these media balls, I do move around from time to time, probably like maybe once every 2 weeks, and I'll just kind of gently move those around just to knock some stuff off of them, kind of clean under there, but just move them around. You don't want to be cleaning them off and rinsing them and doing all this crazy stuff. Let those suckers go, but you need to get some of that detritus and some of that buildup out. But this right here, this is a polyester, 100% polyester You can get it in bags at Walmart, and you want to be sure that there's no fire retardant material, nothing on there. It needs to say 100% polyester. And you can cut these things into squares to fit. What I have here is it's from a dollar store basket, and very easy to cut down to fit exactly over the top of my filter bags. And what I have here is, before I used to just set it down in there so it sat flat and I'd have one there. But what happens over time is it starts to kind of fill up and then it overflows, right? So you're bypassing your filter bags. That's no good. And then so what I also started doing was cutting it short of this so that anything that got past there would drop down into the last filter bags. And that worked out pretty good, but it defeats the whole purpose of catching everything. So what I do now is I put a little acrylic rod under here. You can even cut this and bend it so it sits in there at a slight angle upward. And what happens is that water has to fight to come up to the top of this thing, and you get a lot more of this. Like this is all the seaweed left over from the tang, because obviously the messy eaters, the tang, the scat, and actually the dotty bat go after that seaweed in there. So you can see all that. It catches all the algae, any kind of algae that you're going to be scrubbing off. The food, leftover food that gets down into the sump area. And it's so much better to have it be caught on this, where I can change this out every day or every other day. It takes 2 seconds. You can pre-cut some of these. Spend 20 minutes, 10 minutes cutting a whole bunch of these polyester squares, and it lasts you forever. And you can change them out every day, and it's so inexpensive. You get so much out of a bag. I mean, it's lasted me like 6 months, maybe longer, and it's like $12. And you can throw it out every single day. So all of this stuff is going to be caught here, and I'm going to remove it from my system. I'm going to remove it from being able to decay in my water colony, and it's going to make your tank a lot healthier. Usually what I'll do is I'll put one of these in before I feed. So as of late, I've had the algae in there, the seaweed, excuse me, for the tank all day, but typically I'd only feed that once every other day. I'll do like the seaweed pellets with the other pellets, and now that I use that Celcon, I can kind of soak it and add some additional nutrient value to that food. But I would just put this in right before I feed, and then I can take it out later that night once it has a chance to move through the system and get down into the sump from the overflow. And just take this out and change it, and then let your filter bags, fine tune, fine clean your water. And yeah, it's gonna be the thing with the fleece bags is it just it cleans your water so good. It polishes the water. It looks so good, and you can maybe get away from using like a carbon or something, especially if you're starting to see some issues with your tanks or whatever. But for me, what I would recommend is using these fleece bags, using this polyester pre-filter. I'll maybe just put the carbon once it's rinsed really well right down here into where the water's coming down before this, and the bags will catch it before it hits the main system. It's going to be really hard for that carbon particle to get past the polyester, the fleece, and the protein skimmer. So anyways, I just wanted to show you this, how easy it is, and I think that it would make a huge deal in any of your tanks. So if you can figure out, like I said, the dollar store, get these little plastic baskets, and you can cut them up to fit any type of situation you got going on. And why sit there and try to be rinsing out a sponge filter forever and trying to work all that food through that sponge, when you can literally get some extremely cheap polyester, and it's 100% safe for your fish and your inverts and everything in your tank, and do it that way. So anyways, thanks for visiting, thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you soon. Later.